Listen in to Australia's #1 marketing show as we go behind the scenes with the creator of First Kiss, the world's most viral video. Mwah!
Welcome to the Small Business Big Marketing Show, where successful small business owners share their secrets to take your marketing to the next level. Now here's your host, Tim Reid.
G'day, motivated business owner. Timbo Reid here. Well done to you for joining us inside the movement we lovingly refer to as Small Business Big Marketing, a movement laser focused on helping you grow an amazing business through some very, very smart marketing. And to that end, let's get stuck in to some marketing gold.
Small Business Big Marketing with Tim Reid.
Okay, so I was in Singapore a couple of weeks ago and I was amazed at just how many people were walking around staring into their screens. I'd go as far as saying that for every 10 people I walked past, 6 were deeply engrossed in their virtual world. In fact, probably even more. Certainly the majority. Asking for a menu in more than one restaurant resulted in the waiter producing an iPad. And standing at the counter of another restaurant whilst waiting to pay the bill, there was another iPad fixed in position with a simple screen asking me to rate my experience. I even came across a stat the other day that revealed impulse purchases at supermarkets, you know those moments when you're standing in line and throw in those 2 chocky bars you don't really need? Well, those impulse purchases are on the decline. Why? Because we're filling in that waiting time by staring at our iPhones, by staring at our smartphones, and are now oblivious to those chocolate bar screams of, buy me, buy me. And what about that second and third screen that now occupies our time as we watch TV? If you actually still watch TV, on comes the ad break and boom, we're on the iPad researching our next purchase and Snapchatting a pic of the pizza we're slowly demolishing. My point is this, as website owners, we need to be mobile ready. At the very least, we need a website that is responsive. One in which the content is easily viewable no matter what the screen size. One that doesn't require scrolling and pinching in order to view it. We live in a mobile world, team. We've got to remember this. We need to be aware of this. Small screened smart devices, phones and tablets now outsell laptops and desktops. The key word, or key words, being small screen. People are visiting our websites on iPhones and iPads. Check your Google Analytics if you don't believe me. And if the site is too hard to read, then you've lost them and a possible inquiry or sale. Take a look at how you're consuming information if you don't believe me. Having a mobile marketing strategy goes way beyond having a responsive website, but boy, oh boy, is that a great start. And now is the time to act. These little improvements make it easier for your customers to buy from you. And who doesn't want a piece of that? Okay, before getting stuck in to today's show, as if we aren't already, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to all those solopreneurs in the Flying Solo Network. Now, there's plenty of marketing gold in today's show. I have a very, very inspiring chat with Melissa Coker, who is the creator of the world's most viral video titled First Kiss, plus esteemed newsreader Ron Burgundy makes a guest appearance and kindly reads some listener feedback. Now, speaking of inspiring chats, there's been a couple inside the Small Business Big Marketing Forum lately that I just want to get you across because I think you are going to find them very, very interesting. They're more educational, I suppose, in nature than inspiring, but they are so incredibly useful. And one of the things I do inside the forum is each month we have a dedicated exclusive members webinar where we go deep on a particular topic and I identify a world-class guest to come on and share their knowledge. This week we did Google+. So if you are a forum member, you can get in there and find out how to use Google+ to help grow your business. And some really, really useful tips there. Plus, I did an interview, a consult, I guess, recently in which a forum member allowed me to record it, where I helped him discover his why, which has led to him then creating additional emotional stories within his business. So you'll find them in the classroom section of the Small Business Big Marketing Forum. Plus, there's so many great marketing questions being asked by motivated business owners who are in there. I'm in there every day answering those questions along with a whole lot of others. So head over to smallbusinessbigmarketing.com and click on the forum button. Look, it's $1 for the first 7 days, so you can try it out, see what it's like, and then if you love it, you can become an ongoing member. No commitment, just $49 a month. So hopefully see you in there real soon. All right, before we get stuck into today's guest, let me tell you a little bit about how our good friends at Net Registry can help you get your online marketing sorted. You know how the online marketing world is full of acronyms? SEO, PPC, DNS, SEM. Seriously, as a small business owner, my advice is not to worry about those acronyms. But do worry about how you market your business online. You see, from what I've observed, motivated small business owners are running Google AdWords campaigns, are optimizing their site for the search engines, do have secure website hosting and great website design. But motivated small business owners are also not doing all this themselves. And that's where Net Registry steps in. You see, Net Registry exists to get your online marketing sorted. It's what they do. If you're not marketing your business online, then really, team, you are leaving money on the table. So check them out at netregistry.com and tell them Timbo sent you. In fact, they might even help you get a responsive website. In fact, not might, they definitely will. All right, today's guest, I am so excited to bring this to you. It's Melissa Coker. She is the founder of Wren Studio. It's a fashion house, a fashion studio in LA. She is also responsible for coming up with the first Kiss video, which is now the most viral video in the world ever. It's amazing. If you haven't seen it, I hate to say it, but you've probably been living under a rock. So maybe hit pause, go and Google First Kiss and watch it. It'll take 3 minutes. It'll blow your mind. This video, at the time of the interview, had received 69 million plus views on YouTube, 43,000 comments plus. And I know as of today, it's well past the 70 million as I put the final touches on this episode. Interestingly enough, it's not Melissa's first piece of clever marketing. She has done some other really interesting stuff which she shares along the way. This interview, team, is one that is going to prove to you that the marketing world has changed forever. I'm so excited to bring it to you. And I started by asking Melissa one of the big questions. Should I match my socks to my trousers or my shoes?
A kiss is not a contract, but it's very nice. It's very nice. Just because you've been exploring my mouth doesn't mean you get to take an expedition for the south, no.
It's funny, women don't have to worry about those kind of intricacies. It's interesting, you guys have a whole other ball of questions to answer.
Well, it's a first world problem, but I really struggle. I do a lot of presenting, and socks get seen from stage, and it's just a problem. So, if you do know, do let me know, please.
I absolutely will.
My daughter's quite excited that I'm actually talking to a fashion designer because that's where she's kind of headed in her life. So,
that's wonderful.
Yeah, there we go. Hey, let's talk fashion. Wren Studio. What is Wren Studio? On your website, you have a wonderful quote that says, "Wren was conceived to function as a content studio and a brand." Mm-hmm. What's that all about?
Well, essentially, my background is in editorial. I worked at Vogue and W, and I also worked for some larger corporate apparel brands doing trend forecasting. And along the way, I've always consulted with brands from, Tom's Shoes to The Gap to all sorts of brands in between. And whether it was with creative marketing or trends, things like that. And so basically when I began Wren, it was, a way where, we were launching a fashion line, but also still kind of keeping in a mind to this other sort of pursuit, which, I find exceptionally interesting, the ways, in which you can connect with consumers and tell stories in interesting ways, especially with the advent of the internet. It's really interesting the fact that the way we communicate with consumers has changed so much. And I feel like there's more of a onus on creating interesting content than ever before.
Wow, that is a very interesting point, because the internet, it sounds like old school to say the internet's a game changer. It's been around a while, but things seem to be kind of getting a bit quicker. Things are opening up to small businesses that just weren't accessible before. The ability to create simple video, the ability to podcast like we are. And, one of the things you mentioned, the ideas are so powerful, aren't they? And First Kiss has proved that. From my experience talking to small business owners, they really struggle with coming up with ideas, with big ideas to get messages across. Have you got any kind of advice on where to look for ideas?
Absolutely. One thing we've always kind of done things out of the box and tried to leverage our creativity as much as we could, especially being a small brand, and having more of a limited budget when we're putting these things together. And it really is, you have to rely on your creativity. So I think that First Kiss was sort of a prime example of the fact that, it's all about ideas and getting people engaged and sharing your content. When we set out to do this film in particular, I was studying a lot about the success of sites like BuzzFeed and Upworthy, and not only why they were working, but how they were working. And one thing that really stood out to me was the fact that they'd sort of hit on this idea that emotional content is a way to really connect with people out there, and also to get them to share your content and your ideas. Yeah. So, this has been a phenomenal example of that really, illustrating that point.
Having a big idea, having even a little idea it requires some courage, doesn't it? I reflect on some of the ideas that I see that businesses and brands have used to promote themselves, and often because the idea doesn't have a direct line relationship to actually selling more product, selling more service, many business owners can get a bit kind of think, oh no, that's going to be a waste of money.
Well, that's an interesting point, because this, in particular, and this is some, when I'm kind of listening to the dialogue that's popped up regarding the video, that's something that people talk a lot about. And, this was conceived as something that wasn't meant to sell product. Everything you see in the video is for the fall collection. So this is, almost in place of a traditional fashion show or something like that, where you're seeing a preview of what's to come. And it's more meant to communicate an idea about the brand. Something I compared it almost to, a perfume ad. You can't smell the perfume, you can't experience it in any way, but because it's really setting a tone, that's what they do in order to market their product. And so this is almost taking that and putting it into a more, of a apparel and fashion context.
Interesting. Before we get into the detail of First Kiss, Melissa, tell us what other marketing have you done? I read somewhere where Wren Studio, each collection you look to do something interesting or different. What other marketing have you done for the studio?
Well, we've done let's see, we do interesting collaborations is one example. We partnered. There's a brand that's quite known here that's called Minnetonka Moccasins, for example, and it's a brand that that I wore as a child, and I had a very authentic, long relationship with that brand, and we partnered with them about a year ago and made a special limited edition pair of these moccasins that were wholesaled around the country. And then, we did all sorts of things kind of surrounding that. So that collaboration and that pairing with a different brand was something where we could tell our story.
So, okay, how did you do that? So you got a moccasin brand, you've got Wren Studio brand. I've noticed Havaiana thongs, flip-flops. Do you have the Havaiana brand over there?
We do, yes.
Yeah, okay. So they've done a collaboration recently with a well-known photographer who's been on this show, actually, a guy called Eugene from Aquabumps. Is that type of thing where you've kind of been able to put your fashion style on an existing pair of moccasins?
It is, and with the explicit intent of, if you're an existing brand and you want the media to write a story about you, for example, if you look at what's the content that they're usually covering, and it's, say store openings, new brands, and if you're past sort of the new brand phase and you're not opening a store, what's another thing that you can do that's sort of an interesting thing that brings some newness, that you have a new story for the season to tell, for example.
Yeah. So that how did that show itself, that whole collaboration, or it's effectively a joint venture with the Moccasin brand? You had your own style there. Was there a little tag on there that told a story, or?
Yes. So there was, special marketing materials that went into the boxes. It was like a fold out explaining kind of who I was, what my relationship was to Minnetonka. We commissioned, a style blogger to do these special illustrations for them. And so, while this is accomplishing the objective of, getting more editorials about Wren, it's also, then getting this information into all sorts of new consumers' hands, because, they have a very, very, very wide distribution network. It's, in all sorts of stores, more so than Wren is. And so, all of a sudden, anyone who's coming into contact with this product or buying this product has this, special handout, beautifully put together informational packet about, who Wren is. And we're kind of connecting with consumers in a new way there.
Yeah, I love it. What else have you done? What else has Wren done?
Well, recently also, we did a collaboration with a stylist, and she's kind of a celebrity stylist here. And one of her clients was Kirsten Dunst, the actress. Mm-hmm. So we asked Kirsten if she would be interested, in kind of doing some very fun images for the collaboration. And she said, sure. So we, sent her a box of clothes and a Polaroid camera. Asking if she would, kind of take sort of selfies or something like that. And she did one better and got her boyfriend, who's also, a very well-known actor named Garrett Hedlund, to snap the photos. So, all of a sudden we have these, amazing images that are done in a very special, unique, creative way.
How brilliant. Yeah, that is so LA.
That's the thing. I mean, it really is. It really highlights kind of one of the benefits of being in LA. Is, we just reached out to, this actor or this, musician or whomever that we have the good fortune of being in, proximity to, just from being in LA and everything like that.
Is it really like that? Here am I in the boondocks of Australia, a gazillion miles away. So if I was to walk out your studio door, would I just sort of would I bump into Jack or, De Niro, or is that just how it happens?
I mean... Kind of does, really.
Oh, stop it.
It's kind of hilarious. I love having, friends and different clients come from out of town because they love those moments.
So it really is like that. I just thought it was a stereotyped cliche, but it is. So that's a marketing asset, you play to your strengths. I mean, as a business, if you've got that at your doorstep, you make it work. And clearly
Absolutely.
You do.
Absolutely. And one of the sort of best bits of advice that I was ever given that I think really applies to this sort of thing is like to ask questions, to ask, people if they'd be interested in doing things. I've always been surprised, how oftentimes the answer is yes, and people do want to be involved in special creative projects.
Oh, that is such great advice. I can't remember. Previous guests talked about that. If you don't ask, you don't get. And people think, they would never say yes. But how would you know? You got to ask.
You just have to ask. Yeah, exactly. And sort of set your sights high and just ask and kind of go for it.
I'm even honoured and was surprised when you said yes to this interview, because I just thought you would be inundated and just this little podcaster from, deep down under.
I'm flattered. Thank you.
Oh, stop it. Thank you. Anyway, let's talk. So you've done some great stuff, certainly even prior to First Kiss. But First Kiss, I'm guessing, has taken it up a notch or two with just a lazy 69 million. I don't even know how to pronounce that number. 69,500,000 views on YouTube alone. I mean, That's nuts.
It's amazing. And the number of views is amazing. It's also, I think I checked last, say, Thursday to Friday. And this is with the video, having been out 2 weeks at that point. It was going up, 2 million a day. And that's pretty spectacular considering oftentimes these videos aren't seen that much in, kind of their entirety of existence, really.
Well, 69 million views, 43,000 comments. I want to talk about that shortly, but it is nuts. And the views and comments aren't everything, but clearly it's a part of the scoreboard which says, hey, this puppy's gone viral. So let's start from the start. First kiss, where did the idea come from?
Well, basically it's sort of what I had mentioned where, I wanted to make some content that was emotional and was truly authentic and people would connect with. And that was one thing that, I kind of had sort of discovered when kind of thinking about, what makes ideas spread. And essentially, most people sort of sit at their screens all day, their computer screens, and it could be very faceless and impersonal. And people really want a way to connect to others in their life. And one way that people are doing that these days is through sharing emotional content. They feel this emotion and they want their friend to feel this emotion, and they connect to one another through sharing it. So with that kind of premise, I basically connected with a few directors that I know of in LA.
Here we go, LA again.
who are friends through various means, and I decided to go with one friend in particular who I've known since I got out of high school. I met her in New York, and we'd sort of been friends for ages.
This is Tatia Poliva?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, from there, then it was the same thing, reaching out to various people that I knew that were either friends of mine or, what I describe as friends of the brand, say, a singer who maybe we lent clothes to for a photo shoot or, have kind of had a relationship with through a variety of different means. And I wrote this email saying, hey, we're doing this project. Do you think you'd want to participate? And a lot of people said yes. Some people said no. And through kind of the whole process, we got a group of, 20 strangers together. And the results are what you see on film.
So, Melissa, just on the point before getting to the recruiting of the talent in the film, you met with Tatia. Tatia was the director. Clearly, Tarantino was busy on the day of filming, or Scorsese was out to lunch. But maybe they'll be next. Now that you've proven yourself. But so
I know stakes are higher this time.
So you and Tatia get together. At this point, you don't have an idea. You have a premise that you want to spread an idea, and you know that emotional content works, but you don't have the idea. So you two just over a frappuccino chai latte.
Essentially, yeah, it all came together quite quickly. I knew that I had to have the video done by a certain date because we were going to launch it with style.com, which is, a fashion site here. They have something called a video fashion week, which, they cover, say, New York Fashion Week and runway shows and Paris Fashion Week. And then they have this new thing that they created that's just about videos for brands who don't want to do a fashion show but still want to kind of participate in that coverage. So we had a tight deadline. We literally met essentially over a frappuccino, and and the whole thing, it was really pulled together in, if not a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Oh, that's stunning. That is stunning.
Completion.
When the idea was raised, was it you or Tatia who said, "Hey, why don't we just film people kissing for the first time"?
Tatia sent me an email saying,
right,
about, why don't we do this? And I thought that was great, and kind of set out from there to conceptualize it.
Did you go yes immediately? Like, wow, that's just such a no-brainer?
Well, I felt like it was, a wonderful concept, and I felt like combining that with, the participants that I was thinking of that would be able to actualize this and really kind of bring it to life and give the video, all the wonderful feel that you see. It seemed like a no-brainer. It seemed like a great, and then from there after it was done and kind of seeing the reaction people were having to it, we really knew that this was special and that it had actually accomplished its objective more to a level that I hadn't anticipated. People were getting teary when they were watching it.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain points in the video that when I was, reciting something or sharing something that one of the participants had said, even though I shared that line many times, I would still get goosebumps, and it was just really touching. And I think people really related to it. They related to maybe a first kiss they had with someone, or, all those feelings that you have when you're connecting with someone. And so that, I had a feeling kind of from that reaction that this was going to be special, but certainly I had no idea that it would, do what it's done. And also, all the debate that it's raised, about the state of marketing, about the state of advertising, about the state of, the internet, essentially, kind of when I touched on in the beginning of our conversation about how, the internet's really changed things. And, we acknowledge that it sounds so silly. It's been around for so long, but I've been so surprised with kind of the conversation that's popped up around this video to sort of get the impression that so many marketers or so many, big box brands don't really get that. They don't really see that things are different, and you need to be different in order to connect to consumers, especially, the sort of savvy kind of people out there who I think are typically harder to reach.
That is music to mine and many of the motivated business owners listening to this, Melissa, because, Jeff Bezos of Amazon talks about Amazon being at day one. I mean, that's Amazon. That's like leading company in the world in terms of technology. Yeah. And so, absolutely. I mean, it's such early days for all of this. And I come across business owners who think, the train's left the station. It's too late to do video marketing. I'll never get a viral video done. Podcasting's, too late to start blogging. It's just not. It's just like it's early days. Can I take you back? I'm sorry to be. This is the male in me. I need to know how this video came about. So I have a couple of questions before we talk about end results. So you and Tadia, you've got the idea. You've got 2 weeks to get a video together for this fashion event. You have recruited a number of actors, artists, musicians from around LA, and I know that's been a bit of a bone of contention amongst some commenters saying this is not, and I guess people assumed, this is just randoms off the street. It's not randoms off the street. It's people who have some sense of camera and some sense of performance. But
it varies, really. I mean, that's been a very interesting debate as well. One early article sort of said, these are paid actors, and then everyone was upset. And it's like, gosh, you guys don't know how far from the truth that is, and we kind of went over sort of what the budget actually was, and the fact that everyone there was truly there because they wanted to. No one was compensated. Everyone truly, the premise is 100% authentic. Everyone did meet for the first time, on camera, as you see. They didn't even know the other person's first name, so you couldn't Google, you couldn't do any behind the scenes kind of research on what would be happening to prepare yourself. And, there are people who are actors by profession, but, someone in the video, he also works for me. He's my production manager. There's someone in the video who, works in a store. He's, a salesperson. So there's people of all different professions. It really is a cross section of, the LA population. And, of course there's going to be, performers and actors in there because, as you said, it is LA.
That's LA. Am I right? Is my research right in saying the budget, it blew out to a massive, insert drum roll now, it blew out to a massive $1,300?
Yeah, exactly. I read an article from someone else saying estimating the budget. I don't remember what they said, but it was something like, well, this must have been $50,000. And I was like, no.
It's so...
Not exactly.
This is so inspiring. I hope you know how inspiring this is. So the talent roll up, do they know? They know they're going to be in a video. Do they know as they walk into the studio they're going to have to kiss a stranger?
Yes. So
they do.
In the email that I sent out to everyone, I said, would you be interested in participating in this, the premise is you'll kiss a stranger. It's going to be filmed in black and white. We're going to capture moments before and after, and and that was kind of it. And the girls, it was quite easy to get them to sign on. They were familiar with the concept of a fashion film. They were familiar with kind of these more out of the box creative things that we do at Wren. Whereas the guys are a little bit more like, you want to, they didn't really get it.
Yeah, they'd be like, count me in, a free kiss.
Well, I thought they would be too. I think they were a little bit more kind of suspicious, like, what are you guys doing?
Yep.
So it was actually surprisingly harder to cast the males in the video,
Really?
which really took me by surprise. Yeah.
How funny. I would have thought they'd just be like all over it. Yeah. That's fine.
I know. I thought so too.
Do I have to take my top off?
Yeah, exactly.
Brilliant. So, and then on the day, you said you had 20 talent. From memory, there's not 20 talent in the final cut. Is that right?
Oh, there's 10 couples.
Oh, there is 10 couples.
Yeah.
Goodness me. I didn't, it felt like less. Maybe because you get immersed. I found myself getting immersed in one or two. You pick your favourites.
Most definitely. I think it's nice too that people, definitely respond to different performers in the video. It's been interesting to hear from the different people who participated what their experience has been like afterwards. Different people reaching out and getting in touch, different opportunities that have arisen from being in the video. It's really been kind of a fascinating, social experiment in that respect as well.
One of the I've got to be careful here, but one of the older ladies, maybe the older lady in the video, she kisses a fellow who I'd say leans in just a little bit too aggressively, and I think puts his tongue in just a little bit too far. I felt as though she was a little bit put off by it.
That's Erin, my production manager.
What did she kind of look forward to the end of First Kiss?
I don't know. I think that, definitely you see with the different pairings of people, their personality coming through.
Yeah, right.
That was really interesting to me. For example, one of the girls, her name is Z. She's quite over the top, some say in life, and quite, enthusiastic.
Did she have the striped top on?
She did, exactly.
Oh, she wanted to take that off. She wanted to get naked.
So that wasn't surprising to see kind of that's how, her kiss went. Or there's other girls that I know who are a little shyer who, it felt especially awkward. And so the
gay guys.
People, they were actually, they were the ones who were like, oh, we were a little bit worried. They really, didn't kind of go for it in the same way that the others did. But I think that was nice because you see kind of all different, levels of the making out. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Now, I'll move away from the mechanics of First Kiss. Suffice to say that I think it's fascinating how it came together. It's inspiring that it was $1,300. It's inspiring that you just asked people to be involved, looking and knowing that some would say yes, some would say no, and that you got it up in 2 weeks, so to speak. But it's just like that's for a small business marketer who's kind of thinks everything has to be. Well, literally, this is Hollywood production. It's funny, I say to my my listeners and when I present, you're not, in regards to video marketing, you don't have to make it a Hollywood production, but this almost literally is, isn't it? By default.
By default. It's interesting, kind of in the planning phases of what we were going to do, one thing we explored was even filming a video using an iPhone. This obviously went a very different route, but I came to find out there's, for example, an Oscar-nominated documentary called Searching for Sugarman, and I found out that they ran out of money, and there were scenes in this documentary, which, obviously was very successful, that were filmed on an iPhone. And then, I found out that Soko, who's one of the performers in the video, she's filmed videos on an iPhone using, different apps. And I thought that was really inspiring as well, that there are ways around, investing tons and tons of resources that you can still do things that, look beautiful, feel beautiful, and really get your message out there.
First Kiss wasn't shot on an iPhone?
No, not at all.
Okay. No, okay. Let's talk about then commercial outcomes. I mean, Sort of part of me, you were creating art. I mean, again, one of the things I say to small businesses, you're not in the business of creating art. There's got to be some commercial reality. Now, Wren Studio has branding at the very front and a tiny little credit at the back. And the actors are wearing Wren clothes. But, I mean, for all intents and purposes, we don't know that. So what's been the commercial outcome? Have you completely sold out of your fall collection? Have you signed an amazing deal going forward? What's been the big commercial outcome of First Kiss, Melissa?
Well, I would say that the biggest and most immediate outcome was directing more people to our, not only our website, but our online store. Traffic was up significantly.
Yeah.
That's an understatement, obviously. And the exciting thing was 96% of visitors had never been to the site before. We continue to see a huge spike in online sales, which has also been, beyond our wildest dreams and absolutely wonderful. And it's, it obviously also gotten the word out more about, what we do as a brand, which, you touched on in the opening of the show, which, we're conceived to function as a content studio as well as a brand. So, there's a lot of excitement surrounding that. One interesting thing in this experiment, this was, putting the video on YouTube and sharing it that way was something that we tried that was new, where typically, the videos are, as I mentioned on style.com, are more of in a fashion context. So, there might be a write-up that surrounds the video that kind of, reviews the collection or explains what it is. And this reached people that were beyond our intention, beyond that style and fashion sort of space. And so I think part of sort of that question really touches on the fact that, we were reaching people that we didn't intend to and hadn't anticipated, which has been phenomenal and fantastic, but also kind of makes our connection in terms of, what you were noting with saying briefly in the beginning and the end, cloudier in people's minds, where typically or in the past it's a little bit clearer because of the context in which you're seeing the video.
There's a lot of wastage. I mean, often when a brand runs a commercial on TV, it's seen by 10% of people who are going to ever buy from that brand, and then 90% of people who are never going to buy from that brand. You'd be the same in a sense.
Most definitely. And that's the thing. We're most definitely reaching a lot of people, that would never be our customers. Men, for example, and
blokes who can't match their socks with their shoes.
But also too, because this video has created such a huge dialogue in the business marketing and advertising community, and we're having so many people finding out about the brand in the video because of that dialogue. Many of the people who are interested in the video, it's because of, what the questions and the ideas that this raises about the state of our industry versus, these are our typical consumers. So while, it's definitely, you're having that drop off in terms of who would actually be able to buy clothes or our target consumers, we're also, just raising brand awareness or, across the board, and which has been, a very interesting and unintended part of the whole experiment.
Has it? Well, clearly, I was going to say, has it caught you unawares? Clearly, it has. In a sense, too, that. Maybe you found yourself not with enough stock. I look at your website and, I say this with all respect because First Kiss is brilliant, but your website as an e-commerce platform could be stronger. And has it put pressure on you to then go, well, next time, if we can ever do that again, do we need to be set up better to make it easier for people to buy from us? I'm no style guru, but I found it a little bit difficult to kind of find my way around your website. Is that a surprise to you or not?
Well, I mean, definitely with hindsight being 2020, had I known that we would have, 69 million potential ways to connect to consumers, there's, dozens and dozens of things that I would change in terms of being able to capitalize on
Right.
the success of the video. In terms of what sort of and while it was a surprise that it was that popular, we definitely set out to make something that people would share. It just, we didn't ever anticipate having, what's called the most viral video of all time. There's no way anyone could plan for or anticipate.
Is that a fact, is it? It is the most viral video of all time.
I'm told that we're on track to become the most viral video of all time, and it's been called the most successful fashion film of all time, which is pretty amazing considering the other brands who are doing things like this are people like Burberry or Louis Vuitton, who have, endless pockets.
And here again, one of the things I talk about, the marketing world's changed forever, and the playing field is level. Like we are now competing against the big brands. Look out, big brands, is all I've got to say. One last question, Melissa, and thank you so much for sharing us all these insights into First Kiss and into Wren. I think it's a really interesting business. What's the craziest, most surprising thing that's happened in the last few weeks since First Kiss has gone viral?
Well, the one thing that, I have two things. I'll share two stories. One thing that I was especially, just so happy to hear is Soko, who's one of the performers, and also she, generously shared her song that is the soundtrack to the video. She has debuted on the, Billboard Hot 100, which is the,
wow,
the rating for the very first time in her entire career. She's, charting. She's debuting in the top 10, which is, a phenomenal thing. To happen, and that just fills my heart so very much that that her generosity in participating in this kind of unexpected outcome has come. And then my most interesting story is that the person that I actually had my very first kiss with sort of came out of the woodwork and emailed me. So I thought that was a kind of
beautiful,
interesting, funny full circle.
Oh, beautiful. And what have you done with that? Are you heading out for a Frappuccino? Or?
I don't know about that.
Hey, Melissa Coker from Wren Studio and the person responsible for First Kiss. I'm in awe. I'm in absolute awe. I'm so honoured that you've chosen to share the story on Small Business, Big Marketing. I look forward to seeing what you do next. I'm not going to say I can't wait because there must be massive pressure on you and the world will be watching. But good luck. A big virtual kiss from me. Wishing you luck and well done. It wasn't a tonguey. It was just one of those LA kisses, where you go both sides of the cheek. And
absolutely.
Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you.
A kiss is not a contract, but it's very nice. It's very, very nice. Just because we've been playing tonsil hockey doesn't mean you get to score the goal that's in my jockey.
Wow. Team, did you love that interview? If you did, can you please leave a comment in the comments section of episode 180 at smallbusinessbigmarketing.com because I'd love to know what you think. I truly am inspired by what Melissa has done. I'll share my top 3 learnings with you shortly. But before, let me quickly tell you, and I mean quickly, tell you about Swiftly.com. I say quickly because that is exactly what Swiftly is all about. Small design fixes real fast. Swiftly is ideal for altering your business card details, getting your logo altered, banner ad updates, even photo touch-ups. And who doesn't love a good little photo touch-up? God bless Photoshop. You simply upload the artwork that needs fixing, tell them what needs doing, and boom, within 1 hour, it's done. Often much quicker. All for just $19. Check them out, swiftly.com. That is SWIFTLY. You will be amazed. Now, back to that interview with Melissa. A couple of things. I want to share my top 3 learnings, but there was a couple of questions that I omitted, or didn't omit. I forgot to ask. I was so involved in having a chat to her. There were a couple. One was, how did she get the video out there in the first place? I think we did touch on the fact that she launched it at that fashion week, that fashion festival. But she also emailed 20 friends and said, hey, what do you think of this video? And off the back of that email, they passed it on to more and more and more. And, 69 million views later, history tells a wonderful story. The other question I didn't ask was, what about the spoofs that are now appearing, the takeoffs of First Kiss? I wanted to know what she thought of them. My guess is, and what I mean by that is, there is some rather disgusting ones, like First and First Fart and First Dog. Yeah, look, I reckon Melissa would actually be really honoured that people have bothered to copy it, and it only gives further fuel to the fire of First Kiss. So, yeah, a couple of questions that I didn't ask, but there are my answers on behalf of Melissa, of course. Now, my top 3 learnings. Wow, I mean, so many more. Again, each episode, it's hard to get it down to top 3. But here's my top 3 takeouts. Number 1, look for joint venture opportunities. Melissa called them collaborations. She talked about the one she did with the moccasin brand prior to First Kiss. First Kiss is a collaboration as well. Look out into your networks and see who you can develop partnerships with. All of a sudden 1 and 1 equals 3, and you're not doing everything yourself. It's about leverage. Number 2 learning, focus on creating emotional content. This is a recurring theme. Well, it's a recurring theme in great marketing. It's a recurring theme on this show. Emotional content makes ideas spread. Now, we could think about how and why First Kiss became so viral. That would be an entire workshop. However, it's probably an entire thesis. Someone probably will do that. Suffice to say that emotional content does spread ideas. So think about the wording on your website, in your brochures. Tell stories instead of pushing the features of your product or your service. Create richer content beyond words. Start sharing pictures. Create audio. Do a podcast. Create video. Write a book. Create emotional content. And get clear on your editorial mission. A lot of discussion about all that stuff inside the Small Business Big Marketing Forum. And number 3, learning, utilize your assets. Okay? Melissa did this so well. She utilized her network. I mean, that's a massive asset. For her as a fashion designer living in LA, she's got great connections. They're the assets that she made best use of. Think about what you have access to and really, really make best use of them. That could be about joint ventures and partnerships, but it just might be that you have someone within your business who's a great illustrator or a great writer or whatever it may be. Make best use of those assets because it could well be a point of difference. Hope you enjoyed that interview with Melissa, creator of the world's most viral video, as much as I did. That almost brings us to the end of episode 180 of Australia's #1 marketing show. Now, as I said at the start, I'm honoured to have Ron Burgundy join us and share some listener feedback and some listener reviews. There's some old ones. I wanted to share some old ones off iTunes, and so did he. So they date back like a year and a half, because I'm so honoured that people will leave those reviews on iTunes. And if you want to go and do that, feel free to. Big thank you to Net Registry. They help you get your online marketing sorted. A big thank you to Swiftly, small design fixes done fast. Don't forget to head over to the Small Business Big Marketing Forum at smallbusinessbigmarketing.com. I'm in there every single day answering your marketing questions. Next week's guest is Amanda Stevens, and Amanda is an expert on how to market to women. A very, very interesting chat I have with Amanda. All right, team, I've been Timbo Reid. I still am, actually, and probably will be next week. You've been listening to Australia's #1 marketing show. May your marketing be the best marketing. Bye for now.
You've been listening to the Small Business Big Marketing Show with Tim Reid. Want more marketing goodness? Then visit smallbusinessbigmarketing.com.
Ron Burgundy here. Well done, Timbo, on another great show. Myself and others love the marketing gold you share each week. Here's what others have to say. This first one comes in from author me, in fact, and it's titled, Anybody in Business Needs to Listen to This. I first left a rave review on this podcast almost 2 years ago. Timbo, this is gold. And it just keeps getting better. 2012 in review reminded us of the gems you've shared throughout the year. And your sessions with AG have been platinum. Can't wait for the rest of 2013. Thanks, not so big guy. This second review comes in from V8M. It's titled, Stop, Go No Further. It is amazing to realize that SBBM is up to 110 plus episodes, as I started listening from episode 1. Over the years, I have tried other podcasts, including the best-known names and schools in the world. I gave up trying 90 episodes ago, and have now taken the leap of starting my own web/online marketing business, with 90% of my services having concepts, practices, and marketing gold from this podcast. In this first month, I have 4 major clients, and word is growing faster than I can count. And finally, folks, this guy keeps it nice and simple. It's titled Great Stuff from Zombie Apocalypse 2012. Hi Tim, just wanted to let you know the show has revolutionized my way of thinking about approach to business. I am currently working my way through listening to the entire back catalog of shows and gathering heaps of new ideas and inspiration for new business ideas. I have also bought and downloaded the Marketing Masterclass, which was pure gold. Highly recommended. Regards, Peter O'Leary.
Smallbusinessbigmarketing.com